Broadcasting. Hello. We are just getting organized. This is Jackie M, and I am streaming live to you from the Grand Hyatt in Singapore. So this is the beautiful kitchen at the hotel. This is called the Straits Kitchen. This is where I had a fantastic meal last night. I'm sorry if I'm looking at that because I'm so used to looking at my at my laptop where this is hooked up to usually, but we are actually hooked up to a separate webcam today. But hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me. This is Jackie M, like I mentioned, and this is the second in my series of Ramadan themed Google Hangouts-On-Air, and I'm very privileged to be here at the Straits Kitchen, where they are actually, the reason why we're running a little bit late is because they're just cleaning up the buffet station at the moment, because on weekends we kind of like, there's a little bit of an oversight. They had actually prepared a brand spanking new show kitchen from which I could run my hangouts, but then I decided to be cute and I thought I might just showcase the Straits Kitchen atmosphere. This is a live working kitchen, and just let everyone have a look at, you know, how everything runs around here. I'm just going to hand the camera a little bit around so that you can see there's still staff running around. They're still serving. They are clearing their buffet and they're moving on to an a la carte menu for a couple of hours until dinner when buffet starts again. And I was here last night and everyone was really into their Ramadan, because this is Ramadan in Malaysia, obviously, and Singapore as well, obviously, around the world, really, I'm being silly here. This is Ramadan around the world, and in Singapore and in Malaysia, where I've just come from, everyone celebrates with these grand buka puasa or fast-breaking buffets, essentially. So we've just been completely spoiled. I've put on so much weight. I've only been in Kuala Lumpur and Singapore for a few days, and I've put on a ton of weight and I cannot stop eating because there's just so much food. But anyway, today we are doing now there's a little bit of a tenuous link because I committed to doing a series of like all these different Malaysian states, and then I ended up being in Singapore. So I thought the closest match, and I know people are going to write in and complain and comment and complain about how no, there's lots and lots of differences, but really I thought that the closest to Singaporean cuisine would perhaps be the state of Melaka in Malaysia. Melaka is a state down towards the south in Malaysia, and it's influenced by the Peranakan culture, which is the Nyonya culture. And Singapore likewise is influenced by the Peranakan/Nyonya culture. And Peranakan Nyonya is a very unique culture in this part of the world. Essentially, it's a combination of Malaysian Malay and Chinese immigrants from a century or two ago, and they came into this area. So their cuisine and their dress code and customs and all that are very, very unique to this part of the world. Now, we also have Peranakan culture up north in Penang, but that's a little bit different. There is some similarity between the Malacca and the Singaporean Peranakan culture. And I'm sorry, but my nose is running, but that's the beauty of live broadcast. There's not a lot you can do about it. My nose has been running for a few days, and I've been able to contain it with nasal sprays until today. So don't know what's going on here. But anyway, I'm just going to quickly introduce you to Chef Albert Tan. Tan, is that right? Albert Tan.
Yes. Hello.
Good to meet you, Chef.
Nice to meet you.
Chef Albert, I am loving Singapore. I haven't been here for probably about 7 years. I think maybe longer. I can't remember. But you know, I've forgotten how much I like Singapore, and we tend to be a little bit cheeky. There's a little bit of like a friendly rivalry between Malaysia and Singapore. Albert is authentically Singaporean. I'm Malaysian. And we like to joke about how Malaysians get very annoyed with Singapore because you guys are so perfect, everything works over here, all the, you know, all your traffic lights with your, you know, crossing and all that sort of stuff. But really, you know, it's kind of like you guys are like the favorite child in the family, you know. You can't do anything wrong, whereas we Malaysians are a little bit, you know, rough around the edges.
Multicultures. We have all kinds of language.
Yeah, that's right.
All kinds
and
of
the,
food.
yeah, the food is very similar to Malaysia as well. There are little differences,
yes.
not a lot, because whatever else you say, Malaysia and Singapore used to be one country, right? Okay, so they like to steal our food and claim they invented it. I'm kidding. Now, I thought this would be a good opportunity because, like I said, I know it's a little bit tenuous, but when I committed to do these Google Hangouts, I was going to do all the different states in Malaysia, and then I ended up in Grand Hyatt Singapore. Okay, and I thought the closest match would be maybe one of my dishes that I do is actually a Melaka Nyonya, Laksa Nyonya.
Okay.
I think it's a little bit similar to Singapore laksa.
Yes, the only difference is the Singapore laksa is the coconut milk.
Yeah.
So the Penang laksa is a bit of hot and sour.
Yeah, the Penang one is a bit different. Yeah, the Melaka one is similar to Singaporean laksa as well. But I'm going to show you what I do. And Chef Albert and also Chef Lucas, my fellow Australian, who's the executive chef of the Grand Hyatt over here, he's very kindly helped basically commit his staff to organizing the ingredients for me. And now it's always a little bit scary, not scary, you know. I'm used to actually doing things on the fly, and so I'm not scared. But it's always a little bit. You have to expect the unexpected, and being in a country where ingredients are a bit different. I was actually yesterday. I spent a full day cooking in a studio to demonstrate some of my dishes. And also, they prepared all these ingredients for me, but the ingredients are a little bit different to what I usually use, you know. So I was cooking live on air, not live on air. I was cooking a recorded broadcast for them to use later on, and then at the end you taste it. Oh, this tastes a little bit different to how it's supposed to, but it's because the ingredients are different. So likewise, you have to forgive me if it doesn't taste very good. My laksa is usually very good, but I'm going to start cooking. So we're basically making a laksa nyonya. Like I said, it's a little bit similar to the laksa that you would generally find in Singapore. I'm just going to turn this on. There we go. That should be on. Now, the ingredients I use in my laksa, any laksa recipe really, if you go through the internet, look for laksa recipe, you're going to find they basically have the same ingredients, okay? Very, very similar. So my laksa likewise use a chili paste. Now I cheat a little bit. One philosophy I adopt with my cooking is to try and make it simple so people can practice it at home without any problem. So they don't spend a lot of hours chopping onions, you know, processing onion, chopping garlic and all that. So my recipe usually I use a lot of dry ingredients, but so they very kindly supplied me with fresh ingredients for a lot of these things. Except the one thing I did ask was actually these fried shallot. Okay, I know you guys would usually get fresh shallot and blend it, and then you fry it for a long time. All right, I cheat and I tell all my students who take cooking lessons from me to use fried shallot. Okay, that's a big cheat trick. Okay, and I'm just going to show you some of the other ingredients. I've got dried shrimp that's been processed. Usually, what I do in Australia is I would soak the dried shrimp and then blend it. Yeah, but you just blend it straight. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. And that's one thing I noticed in KL as well. They just blend it straight and then soak it. And there's some chicken stock granules here. This is a big thing in this part of the world. Any recipe, you know, in Australia, when I mention chicken stock granules, they don't know what it is. Okay, they buy stock cubes or something. Yeah.
Because over here we don't use MSG. So this 100% no MSG. Okay,
there you go, no MSG. The brand that I use does have MSG. So we're trying to, and this is garlic, I'm sure. Okay, this is garlic, fresh garlic, beautiful fresh garlic. Again, I cheat. I actually use dried garlic granules because now my problem is, you know, because I run a Malaysian business in Australia as well. My problem is trying to find staff, basically. So my problem is basically trying to find staff.
Because in Singapore, it's easy to get ingredient over here.
Yeah. Okay, I'm struggling with the stove, but we'll sort it out. Yeah. And so I use it, and also because of the staffing issue, I try and make life easier for me. So I buy a lot of dry ingredients. So I'm not spending 90% of my time in the kitchen just chopping and whatever sort of stuff. So I don't know why this is splashing. It's working now. Okay, even though it's splashing. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, so what else have I got here? But this is lemongrass. Yeah, that's chopped. Did you chop it yourself? Or?
Yeah,
oh, okay, because I buy pre-chopped lemongrass actually myself. Okay, and this one is galangal. Again, they're using fresh galangal and they chopped it up very nicely for me. Usually I'll just buy a dry, like this ground galangal. Okay. I'm struggling with the stove again. We'll sort it out. And this is chili paste. Do you do it yourself, this one? Or chili paste?
We buy in.
You buy in, okay, yeah. So usually, this is the one thing I do myself. In fact, I do actually use dry chili, and then I soak it, and then and then I blend it. So what you have to do if you've got dry chili, get the big dry chili, because when you're making laksa paste, the big dry chili, you want a lot of red in your laksa paste, basically, okay? And which means using a lot of chili, okay? And the large chilies are the milder ones. If you use a lot of the small ones, you're going to be too spicy. Yeah. Spicy. Because you're going to have to use a lot to give it that taste.
How spiciness you need, then you adjust accordingly.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. Now, the other thing I use is ground turmeric, and I've got some here, okay? And this thing, we're sorting it out now, is working perfectly now. And finally, I've got some sugar. So what I'm going to do is just heat up some oil. Usually I would use a Carotino red palm fruit oil, because to me it gives it a really, really nice yellowish red color at the end. I don't have any here with me because I'm traveling. Okay, I'm just going to heat this up. And in the meantime, if we have time later on, I might actually just film the laksa station and upload it separately so you can see a traditional laksa station. And that's one thing I really, really miss about Malaysia and Singapore, the fact that you can, you have these noodle stations, and then you can just blanch the noodles and put it on and put all the ingredients in and then pour the soup over it, okay? That's something that you can't find in Australia. Not yet, not in my part of Australia yet, okay? So I'm just heating up the oil. And all I'm going to do is just throw everything in. I know they've very kindly supplied me with a bit more of everything than I need, so I hope I remember the recipe. Because when I cook in Australia, I usually cook in industrial amounts. I'm putting some lemongrass here, and I'm just going to move the camera over here so you can see what I'm doing now, okay? Okay, there you go. So now I'm going to stir this in, and I'm going to stick a bit of water in here, in the dried onion, just so it doesn't dry up too quickly. Oh, the other thing I've got here is belacan. Okay, this is the belacan, which is a dried shrimp powder. The galangal. Okay, this is like fresh galangal that they've chopped up very nicely for me. This is the garlic, again fresh garlic. Usually I just use dried garlic, okay. This is the shrimp, dried shrimp over here. Like I said, they've very kindly given me, and this is lemongrass. Lemongrass really adds to it. I don't know what recipe they use over here at the Straits Kitchen, so I'm going to compare notes afterwards, okay. I'm going to get Chef Albert's team to make me one of their laksa, because they've got a beautiful laksa station there with the soup all ready to go anyway. So I'm going to taste theirs and see how different it is to mine. Like I say, they make a Singapore laksa, and I'm making a Melaka laksa over here. I'm just going to move the camera so you can see me talking. I haven't disappeared. Let me see. Okay, this was working just fine earlier. Just let me balance. You're not going to believe what I'm balancing this on this decorative piece of, I'm going to turn it around to show everyone, okay? This is what I'm balancing it on. This is a decorative, gigantic thing of cinnamon. Okay, actual cinnamon sticks. And I'm sticking the camera on one of them. There you go. Thank you, sir. Okay, so this is my laksa paste. I'm going to put a bit more. I'm going to put the sugar in. Like I said, I haven't measured anything, so I hope it turns out okay. put this in before? That's the chicken stock granules, if you're wondering. So you get the idea. I don't know if you can see this. I'm just going to hold this up close. Okay, that's my laksa paste. And how long did it take? Maybe about 5 minutes or so? Yeah? Okay. So for the uninitiated, if you live too far away from me to buy my laksa paste, which actually, you know, like I said, I cook them in big industrial amounts and then I stick them into pouches and I sell them as Jackie M's laksa paste. But that's the actual recipe that I use for it. I'm just going to move this aside. What I might do, I'll take some out and I'll make some soup, laksa soup from this, okay? So from here, I'm going to use about 1 cup maybe, okay? To make the laksa soup, you would add about some water and some coconut cream, which I just need to open up. Let's see how it turns out. It may need a bit more water. I'm just going to blow my nose out of camera, okay? Okay, let's taste test this. We have a spoon. I'm going to borrow one of these spoons. I haven't measured anything, remember? Quite salty. I add more water. Okay. I want to add a bit more sugar to this as well. Most of it in here. So how long have you worked here for, Albert?
43 years.
40. Oh.
Since opening till now.
Oh my goodness, 43 years. Wow.
Because I do a lot of opening in Singapore food promotion.
Ah, okay. You enjoying it?
Yeah.
43 years. Oh my goodness. You can open your own hotel.
I wish.
Yeah, if you've got to spare $800 million, you can have your own Grand Hyatt too. Because hotels are expensive, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Grand Hyatt is just a beautiful, beautiful hotel. This one here and also the one in KL, both in prime locations. The one that in KL is has the beautiful view of the Petronas Tower. Have you been to KL to do any promotion?
No, not in KL.
Where have you been?
I'm doing promotion in Denmark,
Oh,
in
really?
Australia,
Oh,
in New
right.
Zealand.
Oh, okay. Sydney?
Yes.
Okay, cool. You should give me a call next time you're in Sydney. Yeah, eat my Malaysian food if you're homesick. Oh wow! So you cook Singaporean food in those
Yes.
places? Good. That must be fun. Just. Sorry, everyone. Like I said, there's late plans and all that. And I've got Noah sitting over there. Do you want to just show Noah? Sweetie? Sweetie, hello, say hello. Yeah, clap your hands. You clap your hands. There you go. That's my famous baby, Noah. As you can see, he goes with me everywhere. Let me just move this camera back over here for the moment, just so we can get some more light. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah. So memo to self, next time the marketing team suggests a location for me to do the hangout, I should listen to them because clearly they know what they're doing. But I just thought it would give me an opportunity to talk to chefs like Chef Albert as well. Well, this is more or less it. Tastes like it needs something else, I'm not sure what, but it's close enough. Okay, and what the team has done here beautifully is this laksa, bowl of laksa noodles, all pre-blanched. Now, there's a lot of talk, okay, outside of Singapore and Malaysia, when you open a restaurant in places that aren't Singapore and Malaysia, the Malaysians are your worst critic, okay? The Singaporeans probably as well. Okay, this is my beautiful bowl of pre-blanched prawns and fish cake and some vegetable bean sprouts and some noodles. Now, the Malaysians and Singaporeans, when you open a Malaysian restaurant overseas, they'll be like, oh, this isn't authentic, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not how we have it at home. Now, this kind of laksa, in Singapore, this is the kind of noodle we use. I don't know if you can see it, okay? It's like a thick rice vermicelli kind of, yeah. So that's the traditional Singaporean laksa. In Malaysia, I mentioned as well that there are a lot of different varieties of laksa. I keep telling everyone, you know, just because you grow up, say for instance, what happens in Malaysia? Someone might grow up in Johor or something, and they know Johor laksa. They go to Australia and they eat laksa from a restaurant that's not Johor laksa, and they think, oh, they made it wrong. You know what I mean? So people need to know there are lots and lots of different variations of dishes by the same name. Cool. Is that right? Yeah. Yes. So just kind of keep that in mind. There's probably a version of laksa for almost every single state in Malaysia, and some of them can be very different. You mentioned Penang laksa before. Penang laksa is completely different. It's not. It doesn't even look like laksa, right? Yes. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Just let me serve this into the soup. Here we go. Get this out of the way. Okay, I'll just get Chef Albert to serve it, actually. Okay. Great. Okay, so that's what it looks like. I'm going to top it up with some more garnishing as well, and I'm just going to show you what we've got here. We've got like a boiled egg that's been cut in half. Okay, this is going to be a very expensive laksa by the end of it. There's some tofu here as well. I forgot to put them into the soup, but that's okay. Some sliced up cucumber over here. This is laksa leaves, okay? In Australia, they actually call it Vietnamese mint. Okay, the technical term for it is polygonum. Okay, so this is my laksa. Or you can also shred your laksa leaves as well. And that's one version over here.
Yes. Like over here, we are chopping up.
Yeah, you chop it up over here. And in Malaysia, they don't usually. That's right. So that's a point of difference. I've done it both ways. There you go. That's the Laksa Nyonya. Jackie M/Nyonya style, and I'm going to taste this. I'm a little embarrassed to let Chef Albert taste my laksa because my nose is running. I don't want to catch anything from me. But there you go, everyone. I'm just going to move my camera over here. And I want to talk a little bit more about Malacca food, but we don't really have time today. So I might do a hangout after this series of Ramadan ones and actually do a bit more justice to Malaccan cooking sort of thing. But like I said, there's the Straits of Malacca and there's the Straits of Singapore. So every time you see a Straits cuisine, they're actually, you know, quite, there are some overlaps in terms of the influence. You know, the Singaporeans and the Malaccans, especially the Nyonya, they like their curries and they like their food to be a little bit creamy, with coconut and a slight undertone of sweetness to it as well. So those are the kinds of differences we're talking about, and similarities, and also they use a lot of fresh herbs like, the laksa leaves and that sort of stuff in their laksa. So there you go, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember, like I said, the Straits Kitchen in the Grand Hyatt Kuala Lumpur. I'm very, very impressed having talked to Chef Lucas 2 days ago, about the kind of things he was doing with the Grand Hyatt chain of hotels in this part of the world as well. It's very, very exciting. And if you ever get to Singapore, just have a look at the Straits Kitchen's layout. It's incredibly, incredibly vast and big. You've got like all these different stations, You've got like a Malay section, you've got an Indian section, you've got a Chinese section.
We have Peranakan, Malay, sure. Chinese, Indian.
Sure.
And we have a pho and we have a dessert section. total food over here, we have about 120 over items over here.
There you go, 120 over items at your buffet at your disposal.
It takes us 6 months to put the menu together for
this event. Oh my
Yes.
goodness, there you go. Like I said, this is the Ramadan series of hangouts. If you're around in this part of the world during Ramadan, this is basically like one of the best times of the year to be traveling in this part of the world. Check out, you know, the Grand Hyatt Hotel buffet is just really, really quite incredible. Anyway, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for joining me, or if you're going to watch this later on. So there you go. I'm going to be posting this recipe on my blog soon, so you can follow it and just see how quickly and how easily it's put together. There you go. I'm just going to take one more shot of this, and I'm going to post a picture of my Laksa Nyonya. Okay, thanks again. I'll see you all later.